Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're checking out Superman issue 13 by Joshua Williamson and Rafa Sandoval. This is part 2 of the House of Brainiac, and we find Superman springing into action to save his family and friends from Brainiac, tracking down Lobo, and after a brief violent fight through a pub, convinces him to help find Brainiac by revealing that the Xarnians are back and helping Brainiac. Brainiac, meanwhile, experiments on the heroes and villains he captured in Metropolis, intending on taking all of their power for himself so he can create something of his own. But after a classic case of vomiting green goo, haven't we all, he decides more experimentation is needed. Williamson again teases out what Brainiac's true motives here, since they obviously aren't in just creating Brainiac Queen that we've seen in art and everything. That's not his endgame, it's something else. And thanks to Lex's preparation on Earth, which we found out in the last issue, it's definitely for something very big that's coming. We don't know what that is, but Williamson is doing a really good job teasing it and reminding us in each issue. He also does a great job of setting the stage for what's happening back on Earth now that Superman and Lobo are leaving. We obviously got the Power Girl tie-ins starting very soon, and he kind of lays the groundwork for that, where we learn that Paige, John Henry, and Natasha are being left to defend Metropolis, while John, his son, is busy off with the Titans. Obviously, Superman and Lobo's dynamic is a big part of the book. It's a big portion of the book, and once things start getting going, they start to sort of bond a little bit, since they're kind of going through the same stuff, or Superman is witnessing Lobo going through the same stuff he went through. They're both last sons of their respective worlds, and Lobo is kind of where Clark is, where he learned that Supergirl was alive, Candle's existence. There are other people like him out there, not clones like his daughter Crush or anything like that, but actual bona fide Xarnians. And I like that it's related back to Xarnian history as well, where they too, much like Krypton, had their planet attacked by Brainiac and he took a whole city. And to Xarnians, it's just kind of like a myth, and Lobo doesn't really think that actually happened. It was just something to tell babies when they were scared and whatnot. So I like that there's a similarity between that beyond them just being the last of their race. So Superman and Lobo have to leave Earth to pursue Brainiac, but thanks to the developments in Jeremy Adams' Green Lantern book, Earth is under quarantine from the United Planets. Williamson has covered that with what has become kind of a staple of this ongoing, and that is a cool new costume and or device or vehicle Superman can use to help in his current mission. In this issue, he gets a cool new space bike and his classic protective armor that we've seen a couple of times before throughout the book. I'm glad Williamson is keeping this tradition up through this event. We're just going to get more costumes and cool gadgets and stuff for Superman to use. It's a great addition to his character. I like that he's using Supercorp to actually help him in this situation, and they're doing a good job about it as well. They developed something to get him through the United Planets blockade. And on the writing side, good on Williams for also working with Adams to get this right and actually remember that there is like this blockade, because you could imagine like a writer just up and forgetting that, because outside of the Green Lantern books, it's not widely known, because a lot of the, Batman's not going to space or anything like that. There's no Aquaman book at the moment. Wonder Woman's battling the government. No one's really dealing with space, so it would have been really easy for someone to just pass over and not really remember. But I like that Williams is working with Adams, and rightly so, since Adams is writing the Green Lantern tie-ins with Guy Gardner and the fake Lobo. Superman and Lobo's partnership continues to evolve over the issue as they race through space, and I love Superman trying to impart just a little bit of wisdom into Lobo, who comments about how he's never seen Superman this angry and this sort of loose, and he actually likes it and wants to see more of it. So he's kind of poking and prodding Superman a little bit, but Superman of course isn't buying into it, and he has this great response where he remembers words from his father about anger and how whenever you raise your voice or get angry at someone, no one actually remembers what you say, they just remember the anger. That's really cool. That's a total Superman thing to say, and it's so good because Williamson's books have always been filled with these neat little nuggets that help recontextualize or breathe new life into classic Superman, mythos and stuff that we've seen him say 100 times before. Williamson is able to give it like a new spin and make it look really cool and really effortless as well. After getting through the United Planets blockade, their heart-to-heart comes to a quick end as the Xarnian army finds them, having been sent by Brainiac, who is aware that Superman is after him. Lex, meanwhile, of course, manages to convince Brainiac Brainiac to free him from his prison. But thanks to Lex sorta changing his ways lately, especially in this book, he asks Brainiac to spare his daughter Lena in exchange for Superman. And we know Brainiac has had dealings with Lena in the past, well actually the future, because they went to the future and this Brainiac knows that and needs information that she has from the future that will help them in whatever he's planning to do. So that's why he wants Lena. She was the smartest person in the world that he was after in that last issue. But in a neat bit of parenting, Lex doesn't want that to happen, and in the not so distant past, Lex would have given Lena up in a heartbeat if it meant that he could get away scot-free. But it shows great change has come over him and he chose Superman, and knowing that the hero can and will defeat Brainiac, or at least give him a chance to escape with Lena. There's also the aspect that it will of course make his greatest foe battle, this other villain, and maybe there's a chance his greatest foe will be taken off the board as well. So there's a little bit of classic Lex Luthor still in there as well. We're definitely going to sacrifice Superman if it means he can get out of here. While Lex plots his future, the Superman family try their own escape plan, and they try to escape the miniature bottles they've been sealed in before Brainiac can experiment on them. Williamson, again, using great sort of connective tissue with past books, and in this case future stuff, thanks to Supergirl's relationship to the Legion of Superheroes, specifically Brainiac 5. She knows all about Brainiac's drones and is able to use one of them to free them from the bottles. Though something goes wrong, and while they escape, her and Superboy are still miniature and without their powers. So now they're about the size of an action figure wandering around Brainiac's ship, which is a load of fun. I kind of had a thought that something like this would happen. Of course it's going to happen when you shrink down a hero or a villain or something. You're going to get that, or you're going to go into like the bottled cities or something. But I'm really excited to see where their path of the story goes, since now they're just small miniature people without powers. How are they going to survive? Rafa Sandoval continues the event's bombastic artwork this issue, slightly dialing things back from the huge action opening last issue, but we still get some really great action with Superman and Lobo throwing themselves around a bar at the start of the issue, and then in space on space motorbikes. There are some cool landscape shots in this issue as well, specifically of Metropolis, which has just been decimated by this attack, and Rafa's art shows the extent that Brainiac's attack had on the city. Everything's smoking and just in ruins, and the heroes are trying their best to sort of patch it all back together. It's great stuff. Also, since Williamson loves including, alternate costumes and vehicles and stuff, Rafa gets the chance to do more cool Superman costumes and vehicles for the Man of Steel. I liked his space bike thing. I hope it gets turned into a toy. If this was the 90s, all of these suits would be in here because they had toy merchandising deals. That's not the case here, so hopefully we get something from McFarlane Toys or NECA or something that will give us some really cool looking vehicles for Superman and his team. House of Brainiac continues to chug along very nicely, setting the Man of Steel and the main man off on their mission to free their families from Brainiac. Williamson does a fantastic job balancing it out and bringing in ideas and plots from other writers' books, specifically Jeremy Adams' Green Lantern books, as well as possibly Leah Williams' Power Girl tie-ins, which are beginning in the coming weeks. I can't wait to read those tie-ins, as well as more from Adams on his Green Lantern tie-ins, as well as what's going to happen with the Superman family now that some of them are miniature, some of them are still bottled up. I can't wait to find out what happens next. I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10.